I'm the best fighter in the world. Who you think I am?
What's going on, you guys? Terence Bud Crawford responds to Jermell Charlo's clout chasing comment. In an initial video about these two guys going back and forth, I question, how is Terence Crawford exactly clout chasing Jermell Charlo? Terence Crawford done more in the sport of boxing. Terence Crawford accomplished more in the sport of boxing. Terence Crawford got more fights than Jermell Charlo in the sport of boxing. Terence Crawford got more knockouts than Jermell Charlo has in boxing. So I question, how is Terence Bud Crawford clout chasing on Jermell Charlo? Now, just because a guy in a smaller weight class is pressing a guy in a higher weight class doesn't necessarily mean he's clout chasing. It could mean he's all about the smoke and he's looking for the smoke. But Terence Bud Crawford says this, quote, "How could I be clout chasing anyone when by the time you won your first title, was already a unified division and was a 2-time world champion and fighter of the year. And you started pro before me at Twin Charlo. Looks like you the one that be doing all the clout chasing to me." End quote. So that's what Bud had to say in response to the clout chasing comment. Now, Jermell Charlo went live and said some things, right? He went live and, was taking shots. These two guys are going back and forth. And really, the way I look at it is, this is promotion for Crawford's next fight. And Jermell Charlo is doing a good job of helping him promote his next fight with David Averizian. But will Charlo and Crawford eventually fight? I mean, these two guys been going back and forth almost more than Crawford and Spence been going back and forth. And I think if push came to shove, if Crawford and Spence finally gets in the ring, and if Crawford beats Errol Spence, I think Jermell Charlo will have to answer that call. Despite him being reluctant, despite him being somewhat dismissive, potentially facing Terence Crawford, I think Jermell Charlo will have to answer that call. But will he move up to 160? Who knows, right? He got a fight coming up next month in January against Tim Tszyu. I expect Charlo to get past Tim Tszyu with little to no problems. But then what's next for Jermell Charlo, who essentially cleared out the division at 154 pounds? I think a good option for Jermell Charlo will be to entertain a fight with Terence Crawford. If you're going to knock him out, go knock him out. But I think the biggest problem in making a fight with Terence Crawford and any fighter from PBC/Showtime is the business that comes with dealing with PBC and Showtime. If he couldn't get a fight with Errol Spence, how could he get a fight with Jermell Charlo? Well, he's the WBO super champion, so he could flex on his position as the super champion to become Jermell Charlo's mandatory. Now, Tim Tszyu is a mandatory, so Jermell Charlo may have some time before he had to face another mandatory, depending on the special rules that the WBO super champion has. They may be able to just enforce the fight. Let's be honest though, folks. Whether it's a mandatory fight or not, that'll be the biggest fight for Jermell Charlo. Period. Ain't nobody at 154 more popular than Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford is the most popular fighter in boxing. He may not have 100 million followers like Canelo Alvarez, but everybody in boxing is talking about Terence Crawford every day of the week. He's talked about more than any boxer in boxing. And it's been that way for quite some time now. So by Jermell Charlo attaching his name to Crawford, that's good for Jermell Charlo. Because let's be honest, who really knows the Charlos like that? And I'm not saying they're some totally unknown fighters, but most people know the Charlos as the Charlo twins. Some people don't even know which Charlo is who, right? And in order for you to know to distinguish the two Charlos, you got to have been following this sport for quite some time to kind of know who's who, right? But if you're a casual fan, you still may not know exactly which Charlo is who. But when Crawford name attached to Jermell Charlo, I think that's good for both guys. Some fans may say it's clout chasing. I don't think it's necessarily clout chasing. Now, if anybody's clout chasing, it would be Jermell Charlo clout chasing Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford accomplished more in the sport. Terence Crawford, even though he's started pro later than Jermell Charlo, he's still done a lot more in the sport of boxing. I think a fight should happen in the near future between these two guys. We don't never know what's going to happen in boxing. We just don't know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Everybody act like they know what's going to happen, but you really just don't know what's going to happen. Boxing is one of those sports where it's never anything really set in stone until the contract is signed, until both guys step in that ring and then start throwing punches. But yeah, man, this is hey, it is what it is, right? Crawford's got asked a question from Brian Custer on the Last Stand podcast, and he answered the question however he wanted to answer it. And I guess that turned to cloud chasing. But like I said before, you guys, Terence Crawford, no matter what he do, no matter what he say, fans going to nitpick anything. They're going to say he's contradicting himself. They're going to say this. They're going to say that. Terence Crawford is the only one out here stating his case. They're trying to explain to people what's going on. And they go take it and spin it however they want it. But at the end of the day, like I said before, Terence Crawford is the best fighter in boxing, and he is the most popular fighter in boxing right now. Clout chase off that. Like, subscribe.